and welcome to this video. Today I thought I would make a video like a tutorial for the CRJ 900, but in general it would be as a overall tutorial for the 700, 900 and 1000 of the CRJ found at the explain.org forums. It is this version here. Let's take it here. This CRJ can be found in the download section, as you can see. And then you can go to the sound folder, as we got it here, as you can then download the sounds that I actually have used in the aircraft so far. And we're going to do a flight here from Aalborg to Copenhagen, a short flight here, and more or less a direct flight. Sadly we can't see it entirely, but it is here in Denmark. It is up north here, and then we are going more southeast bounded to get to Copenhagen. Nice short flight that in real life I should say, would take around 35 minutes to 45 minutes depending on the weather and conditions and such. So we try to speed up things here, and we are going through some of the things here. So let's get the aircraft started, and by no means I'm using real procedures or anything like that. We just gonna do it as what is required here. So just bear that in mind. And for this flight I am using my own autopilot project. From time to time, of course, I could use the autopilot inside the aircraft, but as I have said before, it is easier in real time to do it in real life when you have the hardware by your hands. We are in a desktop simulator, so it's not as easy as it would be in real life, and that's why I use my autopilot project. Yes, it is a cheat, and it is very useful, as I can get the stuff done in a very quick manner, and I really appreciate it, because it gives you a feeling more of FSX or such, because the reason why I made my project was because the slow manipulators of Explain 10 as the project for my autopilot project down here was originally made for Explain 10. Then 11 came and things has improved, but still I'm missing the nice and good scroll wheel support. I really wish they would find a better solution, like pushing the yeah, you could actually use the right mouse button as it is today to look around, but also when that is pressed you could zoom in or out. Then you are out of those issues that if it's just getting a bit out of the main area for the animations for the knobs, then it would do those zooming effects. That problem would be solved by doing it that way, because it is nice that Laminar has made this zoom effect, so it is not like in FSX or prepared where you have to use the plus and minus key. I really like the way that it is, but I'm really also missing the mouse scroll support in a fashion that actually works very well. And from my opinion, it can't be that difficult. It could also be that you should hold down the mouse, the middle mouse button, the mouse wheel, and then move it up and down to zoom. Then you just have to click down the button and scroll, of course. But either way, I guess it would give a much better result. Anyways, we are up and running here by the APU. So let's get some fuel going here. Of course, it's funny that we can start the engines even though those fuel values was not set. Anyways, we're not gonna mess too much with it. We're just gonna start the aircraft, and it is pretty straightforward. I have heard people have a problem starting the aircraft from cold and dark, and that the engine would quit and such. I have not experienced that, luckily, so far. So what I just do is going up here. Sorry for that. Switch on, and then you need to hold down the button in order to start the engine. You can hear the engine spooling up, and there we go. It has ignition, and we are just, of course we should use that for now, but as you can see, the aircraft is not that simulator, so given stuff may not result in any problems. And I really apologize that the text is so difficult to read. Not sure if it actually is because I have a large monitor and those fonts isn't that very well to look at, and that was what I have been mentioning before for my autopilot project, that doing given stuff for my project with other fonts and sizes and such could result in issues, and there is one issue right there with the main text. Yeah. Okay, and we got the engines up and running. It has a good start, so let's set the FMS, and it's straightforward. Nothing fancy here, it is just Echo Kilo Yankee Tango, Echo Kilo Charlie Hotel Copenhagen, and we're just gonna say departing. We're departing here at runway 26 right, yes, and we are arriving into runway 30, and it is going to be, let's see here, some odd reason we have to do it the opposite way, so it has to be Sveda 1 Delta. I really don't understand why we can't do it the other way, because normally in the FMS it would filter away the procedures just like it did here, but for some reason we would have to select a star first, even though it makes no sense, because now you can see then we can do it. Not sure if that probably could be some kind of programming thing, but anyways, it doesn't make that much sense. Vector's not going to do vector, it's going to direct, and then you would see if we zoom out here, a very long line. It is actually the vector from the go around. I'm just gonna clear that. you can see it's gone. As we would know the procedure for the go around. And what I then also normally tend to do here is to give us a reference for our destination. As you may know, we go to the fixed page, and then we can set up and given distance from the airport. Of course, it would just be a circle directly around the airport, but it would give us an indication of when we are at a given distance from the destination, as that could be used as a kind of type of descent. And that was wrong. That's a course you can use, but we are using this circle. Not sure why you can't set both, because as you can see, you can only use one. Even in reality you could set up both, and some pilots are actually doing so. And even more than just one, but that's a general thing for the FMS, nothing for the plane. It is how I explain this. So not much we can do about that. Okay, let's get the aircraft going. And we should be using max turn here, just as we could see down here. ATR or Fokker 70 or ERJ 190 should make a turn, a sharp turn I should say, with full tiller use. So we turn all what the aircraft can do. Not sure why this happens. I guess it's my graphics card, as it has been running quite rough here the past days, so perhaps it is singing its last song here. Anyways, can set the altitude here. And do note that normally I do not spend time on programming the VNAV stuff, because I tend not to use it. Some people are only using VNAV, and in reality quite some airlines and pilots actually of course they set information there, but it is never that used. Once again, often they tend not to use VNAV as such, and that's basically because of the traffic flow and such. You would see a lot of videos where pilots actually are using vertical speed as well as flight level change modes. But also here you would also know that when you are going in, it has set the cruise altitude, of course, but no matter what we are entering or such, I'm not getting much out of it as such. Because you have the VNav, of course it would set that, but in reality we should also get the top of climb, top of descent. But I tend not to use it, because you get the information, of course, but you see, from here we will climb up to 18,000 feet, and after Sveda, or the first waypoint, as you can see, we should be below, or I should say at or below 11,000, and A would have indicated that we should be at or above 11,000 feet, but we're not gonna use that restriction as such. As it doesn't make that much sense to use. Okay. And here we go. We have a liftoff here. Getting the nice view here as we are climbing out of Aalbogx. And of course, we forgot about the lights here. I apologize for that. As well as this was switched off. As I try to make this video as short as possible. But as you see, it doesn't matter that much. And that's also what I try to illustrate to you, that the aircraft isn't that aggressive, where I could find add-ons where they are very well simulated, so it could be a challenge to even fly the aircraft. As if you do things wrong, you could get icing, and the engine would stop in flight and such, and you would get into quite some problems. But anyways, that's not the case here, luckily. Okay, autopilot engaged, and we are gonna set our nav, and we want the aircraft to use speed mode. And here comes where it gets a bit of a challenge to read what the aircraft is saying, and that's why I tend to use my own autopilot project here. Basically because it feels so natural. And yeah, let's see if we can fix that. There we go. Now the displays are fixed, and now I'm just opening my autopilot project here and moving it over, so we actually are using that instead. As you see, not sure why the developer has left the nav button over here, nav source, because that's, as you can see here, my autopilot is showing you what mode is active, but for some reason here you don't have, you only see the lines here, and the bluish here, that is actually a cyan line. The cyan magenta is over here, but is the terms from the graphical worlds that we are using, the cyan and the magenta. Even in the training material for pilots, it's those names and not just is it some kind of, not really a purple, but such, and a blue line, so that's one very important thing, to set the nav source here. And I did it on purpose because I saw people on the forum yesterday couldn't get the aircraft to fly. But if you are using my autopilot project, you get that missing reference that is not displayed here. Gives you a good impression of which mode you are in and such. So it's a great improvement in my opinion, and I really not say that you should be using my project. I just say that it is a great help. I use it a lot in those more default aircrafts here, as it is a nice reference. There's nothing much to it, but they are just what is required in order to operate the aircraft. And it is a bit better than sitting here and look up. It's on, and it's off. And what I also want to mention here is that for some reason, when the aircraft is in the GPS mode, you see here the nav and the heading button would be switched on at the same time. If it goes to the CRS, see, then it's only the nav, the core, then it's only the nav that is lit up. Some kind of mechanism of telling you, well, now is the FMS being followed, but that actually could be confusing as well. And the reason I'm saying so is that in reality, when you are flying towards the main track of the flight here, I can't remember. I mean, this aircraft is just like the CRJ 200, and I mean the CRJ 200 actually has a limitation, so you can't just depart and like in many other aircraft just say to the FMS, okay, I want to go now to the main first waypoint. You have to get the aircraft using the heading on towards the main track, and then it will follow it, but I'm not entirely sure about that. If that's for the CRJ 900, I really have to admit that it is so far away flying the CRJ. Even I was tester of it in FSX for some time, for some years ago, I should say. It's quite some years ago. And at that time, the aircraft was very basic. It is actually the version that Aerosoft has in their shop. I'm not going into details why and what happened and all that. Because I was testing it, but circumstances, I had to take actions to protect development. So that's the short answer. But it is also a nice reminder that how quickly you are forgetting, but not only that, also how well is the main add-on simulated, because in reality everyone can release an aircraft. Just like this here, you say that it is a CRJ 900, and in fact it could be even a CRF 541 that I just found as a name for a new aircraft type. Let's say it's the new aircraft type, and that's often what we are forgetting. Developers are releasing aircrafts, but in fact they are programming things around the original aircraft. But with that said, it is not sure that everything is just like the real deal. But some things, sometimes you can see it in some projects that they have not simulated. Given things, and other times they have, but there is also the possibility that you have to know the aircraft very well to know everything that might be unique for a specific aircraft. So depending on your main level of design, as well as what you are prioritizing in your main project, if it's not a priority to you to make it 100% accurate, well then it is lacking some of those things, of course. One thing I want to show here is, now we have made a fixed point. Normally you can make more. Let's see if we actually can do one more, and then say 40. You can do it that way. The only thing that we have to know here is that, as you could see, we are limited to only 2 fixed points. For some reason we can't use more, so we can't make different directions, because that could of course be one of the ways we could solve the main problem from before, that we could not set a radial, as we could do it this way, of course, instead. Then you see, then we could do what I was mentioning before, but it is a bit that I should be using 2 fixes to actually do one. But that's just my opinion. nicely here in Danish airspace, coming down here to the Sveda waypoint here, Sveda VR station, and flying down towards runway 30. I would say that runway is normally not used as it is for the first off, it is a single runway where the airport normally is operating 2 runways at a time, one for departure and one for arrival. But runway 30 is under normal circumstances used during snow operation. I have seen when the wind is requiring it. But that's also it, because I have never seen or heard of aircraft actually landing the opposite direction. I mean runway 12, and that basically because it is directly over Copenhagen city. And in reality, I never seen it in reality that they have used runway 30. I only seen it on flight radar during a period of where they had severe snow. But of course that also would limit the traffic flow when you actually are only using a single runway instead of dual runway. And now comes one thing that was a bit of a challenge and tricky for me. I have mentioned it in my previous videos that I had a small message up here, and I thought that I have found the main way to solve the problem. And in the video I did before this one, I actually found out how to do it correctly. What we was experiencing was that the ground spoiler wasn't armed in this aircraft, and for some reason it felt a bit odd when you go in here and just using the manipulator here, where you see the arrow going in the from the right towards the left, and here is from right to the left, left to the right. Here you see, then it would just do this as I was mentioning in that video, and I couldn't get it to our position. But for some reason it has to be done in an opposite manner. So to actually set it, instead of doing it this way and then say, well, why can't it get to the auto, you have to go to the opposite direction. So you really have to take your mouse scroll wheel and scroll it all the way down. I actually guess that's the easiest way to actually set it. It is actually just to take the mouse wheel whenever it is in this direction or the opposite, the other direction. It does the same. Just pull that so it would arm. Else you will see this issue as I was before. Now we want to slow down here. Flight level change. Idle thrust here. And then we would use the speed brakes here. And for some reason they seem to activate each other. So when you get that message, if you had used the speed brakes, of course, else you could just do it directly, but if you see that main message, take your mouse wheel, scroll it all the way down, or I should say pull it towards you, as then it would get to the auto position. As that would solve the main problem. So you don't get that warning that we are getting in just a moment. It took me some time to figure that out, and in the previous video I just found, okay, that is it. So and I didn't see it mentioned as such in the manual from a quick look. So I thought that I would mention it in here as well as nav source, and why I do this video, because it gives you a nice way to start out with the aircraft, I should say. So you hopefully is not getting into those kind of problems as I was experiencing from the beginning, as that was not that great. But anyways, on the landing light so we don't forget it this time, and as well as switching on the APU. And then we are getting ready here for our main approach, and we are going to fly a bit parallel with the runway before we are intercepting the ILS, just to make sure that we are doing it at a good distance from the runway. It's always better to descend a bit, so we are a bit early to intercept the glide path, I should say. It's always easier to do that than actually keep fighting getting down to that glide path, because then you have a rush of both getting the airspeed down and in general it's not good. It is better to just make it this nice and more slow approach here. You can see it says auto throttle engaged. Do note the aircraft do not have auto throttle. It is only because I use it. The speed mode here is the flight level change. Just to try to mention that. I know it gets complex when I start mixing it in my own project, but it isn't that difficult to understand or such. if you like, I can actually do the rest here entirely by using the stock autopilot here, because it's the same modes as my project. Just pressing the heading and it will switch to the heading mode instead. And I am going to go to nav source. Unlucky, we don't know which it is set for. As such, as you can see, it's the same for course 1 and course 2, so not really knowing which it is, other than if you see it here at my autopilot project, you can see it. Yeah, that's basically how it is. And what I was mentioning before with the speed here is that by no means you can see, you can click it, but it is not doing anything, as it would just capture the altitude. I can show you that by doing this here. See, now it descends just like it did before, and I can open my autopilot project. You can see there is a bit of a difference, but mainly it is because it's using another mode of the autopilot. That's one of the other things I have tried to make very clear with my autopilot project. Yeah, I know that even I'm using my autopilot project, and it is set up to actually use the stock codes. What you have to understand is the fact that there has been made some modifications to the codes over the years of development of X-Plane, and I guess that they have not modified all the codes, because then they would have to redo all their aircrafts in order to work correctly. And I mean, there is something about their what is it they are calling it? I can't remember it right now. Show extra aircraft from older versions. Yes, that is it. I mean, the only reason they can work is that those codes are still there. They made a good basic for the stock project I did. And that's basically one reason why my project works, and it uses those codes. But what we also should know is that at any time it could stop working. That's one of the sad things with it, but that's the reality we got there. And why it's also not perfect, because they have made those codes. If there just was one code, but the reason they have done those different codes is actually they try to customize it a bit, you can say, for some of the aircraft, I guess, over the time. Okay, and here comes the message I was mentioning. You see this PLD not armed, and it is this here, the spoiler GLD lift dump. It is in manual, it is disabled manually, and scroll all the way down, it goes into auto and the text is gone. See, pretty straightforward. And now the aircraft is too high because we did not set the approach mode, so the aircraft would not do this correctly. So what we would do here is that we have to think fast here and slow down as well. It really has to do things correctly here, and that's why I feel that my autopilot project is much more simple to use, because you can make those adjustments here quicker, and that's very useful, especially here when we are giving instructions, or not instructions, but trying to learn you something at the same time, as that saves time for me. And you see GS engaged now. It's actually captured it. In fact, it could as well just have given you an text GS is captured, because that's actually what it has engaged the glide slope now, as it's captured. Okay.
1000.
And we are doing just fine here for approach. I know it's a long approach here, as we was flying quite slow, but it is to try to give you as many information as possible. So autopilot engaged, autopilot disconnect, flight director, yaw damper. This was for the flight level change, or what you want to call it, where you set a given airspeed, and it would keep that until it gets, so it actually adjusts the pitch to keep that airspeed until it catches the altitude. Back course and one bank. Haven't tried if it actually is working. Approach mode, the heading mode, and the nav mode, of course, and the vertical speed and the vertical speed wheel. It's pretty straightforward. Okay, now we're getting close.
300, approaching minimums.
Pressing the disconnect button here, and we are manually flying.
200,
and bear with me here. Oops. As I don't have the best joystick in the world here.
100.
But I also have to learn this aircraft.
50,
I really want to float
40,
when we are getting here
30,
to the approach
20,
phase here.
10.
See? Really floating there, even I'm just making small adjustments here and there. Okay. I'm gonna use the thrust reversers here. And we have to make our turn off right here, so we're just gonna slam the brakes here. So we actually could stop here and get off the runway as quickly as possible for all the traffic. And I forgot to mention that the aircraft do not have any auto brakes, so it is manual braking only, as it does not have that ability. Okay, and we have landed, so here we go. Off with some of the lightings here. Strip lights off as well. And do note it is limited with the buttons here. Some buttons you see is working, others are not. See, you can switch on the wipers, but there is no animation for it. or at least you don't see a wiper moving across here in the 3D cockpit. Okay. And now we are taxiing over to the correct terminal for an aircraft like this, switching off the November here. There's some modes here. There we go. And it would just give us the information about the November has been switched off, and we are well aware of that. But that's basically what there is to it. I really hope that you learned something about this freeware add-on, or should I say freeware aircraft. Even there's not a lot of information for it. I hope that it gives you an impression, and that it was useful for you, and you probably could fly the aircraft now without getting into situations where you don't understand or know what scenarios that is the case. I mean here for the nav and for the spoiler deployment here. As you see, it tends to go back in the manual, so I feel it's a good thing to notice here that you need to set it correctly, and this just removes the yoke. But it also seems to have an influence here if you see the textures. Anyways, yeah, you have this CRJ, and we're just gonna kill the engines here. Now it is completely shut down, even though that wasn't the right procedure. And you see the lights are still there, the beacon lights, but it is now off. But once again, hope you learned something, enjoyed it, and would come back later for one of my videos. Of course, if I can continue creating the content, it really depends on my hardware, but also that you hopefully found my autopilot project useful, even for an aircraft like this. As yes, I know I'm making a lot of advertisement for my autopilot project, but it makes things so much easier in your daily flying, and there are some users that like that, and some that just likes everything in between and try and love to mix it like I do. When I'm flying a simple aircraft like this, well, I also use the simple stuff, but of course if I'm flying the Airbus, well, it's as easy as using the autopilot in there, but that's basically because they have that nice feature of 1,000 feet at a time and such, so it makes it so much quicker to adjust the things. So so I would say that the philosophy that Quality SimWings used back in the days for the 757, where they actually said it was an simulated aircraft, but it was with system just simplified, and I really feel that was a very nice concept, because we are in a desktop simulator and we have the fact that we do not have the hardware around us, which could make it a lot easier and faster to actually adjust it, as sitting here with a and button, and especially if you have turbulence and such, and you have, I know I have of course switched off the cinematic view here, because that would just, as you can see, it just moves around, and then to try to sit in here and use a knob in this aircraft is perhaps not a huge problem, other than if you're coming down to some of the knobs. Now, of course, can't find a good option. Well, yeah, here. See, they are very close for the adjustment for the nav and such, and there should not much turbulence or this motion too, and you can't hit it correctly, and yeah, it just makes life a lot easier by using the project. So if you like that project, or just thought it looked nice, try it out. It is on the explain.org forums under utilities. You could just search my name if you like. It is up here in the screen by Captain Ellen. Just search that and you would find my content at explain.org, as I also have other scripts out there. So once again, thank you and have a safe flight and take care. Bye bye.